letter. So under the law, you have the right to see the letters. So you have to waive that right. If the rep would never do that.
So for CSUN, we only need to provide the email addresses for the people who are asking for letters of recommendation, after we've done that whole procedure.
Yes, but part of that too is waiving your right, so it'll ask you about that. Yeah.
If I may, when I applied for CSUN, you go into the website to start the application for the department, specifically department. In that application, it asks you to type in the email of your letter writers. Once you type in the email of your letter writers and you press send, CSUN department sends that recommendation form to the letter writer to their email.
Actually, that's not, I'll tell you what happens, is we get an email saying, so-and-so has requested that you, I've forgotten exactly what the wording is, but it's essentially, so-and-so has asked that you write a letter for them. Are you willing to do so? And then what we do is they send us a link and we go in to the account. So like I have an account and it's pretty good, cool thing, because when I open the account, the name of every student who has asked me to write a letter and is applying to CSUN is right there. When I go on to NYU, it's the same thing. I can see all the accounts, so it helps me keep track, right? So that's what it is. They're not actually sending the letter to us, but we go to a link where we see the letter for each of you. Yes.
So before we put in your email, we have to actually ask you whether you want, just not a surprise, like,
Oh, of course.
to recommend.
That would be nice. That happens for me. I will send you an email saying, I really don't remember having a conversation about this.
Sorry. I haven't started the application process yet, but once I do, is it possible for me to start and then come back and then upload my transcripts?
Yes, you should be able to. I think it has a save button in there, and some, just to give you a little extra, there are some places where you'll have to submit something or upload something before you can move on. So keep that in mind too. Put, I think, the statement of intent and the letters of recommendation are up front in the email, in the application, so that you have time to work on that. The rest of it is mostly typing in the classes you've taken, uploading your GRE score, uploading the transcripts.
So it's like a sequential, like you have to do this in order to move on with progress on the application. So you know how you said that we need a separate transcript for every college we've attended for undergrad? Let's say I went to community college and I transferred here, right? Would I have to go to my community college, get an unofficial transcript from them, and then an unofficial transcript from here? Okay.
If you still have access, you might be able to go online still and get it. A lot of the community colleges allow you to do that.
So when you're applying to graduate for different like CSUs or even private schools, like I remember doing as an undergrad, the CSUs would send only as one place, and then they would send out all the different CSUs that you applied to. So this mean you have to do each individual college again?
Right. There is in terms of letters of recommendation, there are like central services, and so it's
CSD, CAS.
some combination of those 6 letters. And if that particular university uses that system, you know, we just write one letter and send it there. But you still have to go to each university, fill out their application.
These are all different, expectations are different from all.
So you went to university a long time ago, and then you dropped out. Do you have to put those, but you have no credit from that place anymore? Do you have to put those transcripts in there? Because it will not be flattering at all.
If you did not take courses that counted for
Grades.
grades,
For any ASHA or
probably the best way to go about it for everyone.
I think everyone on our faculty prefers this.
And then we would hand that to you while we
Right,
ask.
so you're gonna do 3 of these, basically. And after you've spoken with faculty, and make sure you do speak with them, because some faculty will only agree to write a certain number of letters, and if they've already said yes to that number of students, don't assume that someone will write a letter for you, even if you've done well in their class, because there are limits that people will.
And you have to ask early too, because sometimes letter writers will only write up to 10 or 20 or, you know, so you have to ask them in advance, so you get that spot per se.
How about, so we're in this time frame. Let's say I'm applying, what is early, right now or in 1 month?
This month.
Well,
This
part of
month?
part of it depends, I mean, you know, there are a couple of schools out there that have November 1st and December 1st deadlines. I'm saying no to all of those right now. I needed to know that before now. So it depends on the recommender. We used to have like a department deadline for, talking to faculty of November 1st. So that would be a hard and fast, like, better talk to us before November 1st. But again, individual faculty are different, so if you have, you know, someone that you need to talk to and you can't get to them by November 1st, I'd say try. You know, the worst thing that is gonna happen is they're gonna respectfully decline your request. Have a backup. Most of the universities, there isn't a way to submit more than 3 letters, but you do have to be pretty good and active about following up to make sure the recommenders have written it. I mean, don't be a pest, you know, about it. But you are the one who's responsible. So, and we have had students who have been declined from programs because someone didn't get their letter to the university. And they'll say, well, the recommender said they were doing it, da-da-da. Programs don't care. You know, so that's it.
One nice feature on this electronic application we use is you can see when it's completed on your side. I think it gives an update so you can see when it's completed. I don't know if it shows when they've seen it.
Well,
You know, on the student
yeah,
side.
when a professor had fill out their recommendation, you get also a confirmation email saying, oh, so-and-so has submitted their letter of recommendation. So you yourself have that overview of how the process of your application is going.
I'm gonna have to leave soon because I have another meeting, but a couple of other things I wanna say. One is, I described to you our process. The applications come in and then we sort them out. So there is no rush to get your letter in this month compared to January. Okay? Now, I wouldn't wait till January, you know, the day before they're due, right? You don't wanna wait till the last minute in case there's some kind of a problem. However, if you're taking a bunch of important CD courses this semester and your GPA could use a little help, then it would be to your benefit to wait until grades have been submitted for this semester. Because while there isn't gonna be a huge impact on your, you know, your GPA, it's nice, our reviewers will really like to see that you did well this semester. We'll look at the trend, okay, in your grades. So don't rush to get your application in thinking that you're gonna have some kind of advantage. You're not at all, unless that what I said, that waiting is more of an advantage, but you don't wanna wait till the last minute. I'm trying to think, are there any other questions for me before I have to leave? Yes?
In terms of grades for like physics and music or other miscellaneous classes that we have to take besides major related, how much do they weigh?
Okay, so we look at overall GPA, and then we look at your GPA in the major, but we don't count the ASHA required courses. So biology, physics, chemistry, what's the other, statistics, and whatever, those don't go into the major GPA, but if you took them, they're gonna, you know, as an undergrad, they're gonna go into your undergraduate GPA. We give, of our whole scale, GPA in the major gets the most attention. And writing. Those two bullet points get the most attention. Yeah.
Wait, writing, you mean writing skill on the GRE?
Well, no, we don't use the analytic score on the GRE. What we do is the statement of intent, what the recommenders have to say about your writing. That we pull from a lot of different sources to make a judgment about, you know, what we think your writing is.
One more?
When it comes to the GRE, how monthly does that have?
It has weight. I mean, it's in the mix.
What's like the scores that like the lowest, not the highest of course, but kind of like the lowest that you guys would even just look at?
You know, we don't have a minimum. So the university requires that you have a certain GRE score. But if we feel there's a compelling reason that we want to admit you, we would admit you. But you do have to take either the GRE or the MAT, the Miller's Analogies test. And we do consider those scores. It is all about balance. So, you know, we want to know basically that you're a nice person and that you're gonna be successful academically. So those are the things we're looking for in this, all these data that come into us, your application, your transcripts, your letters of recommendation, all these data points come in. We're looking for evidence that you are a nice person and a reliable person, and that you're going to be successful in graduate school, academically.
How would you recommend asking letter writers to write you a letter, like by email or going into their office?
You know, when we had the panel last year, there wasn't really agreement about that. I mean, I'm on campus 4 or 5 days a week, so I like it when students come in to ask me. The benefit also of that is you're there and I'm gonna remember you and I'm gonna remember your face. I'm gonna remember, you know, that moment. However, you might be, you might ask someone who's a part-time instructor and isn't here now, so you would have to email them. I know,
Dr. Beal, I think that was email.
Dr. Beal, Dr. Hall, I remember said email,
Yeah.
but I don't really know. Doesn't hurt what all of you have do for me a lot of the times is send me an email saying, I'd like to come in and talk with you, about, you know, whatever. And then if a professor really honestly prefers that you just handle it via email, they'll just say that. No, you can just email me your information, whatever. But for me, I like a hard copy packet like this because it helps me manage it. I mean, I'm getting 50 email from all of you. I'm getting 50 email from universities saying submit a letter of recommendation. And every time you go in and check, I'm getting a reminder from that program. So, and I have my ways of organizing all of that, but it really helps me to have this. Is there another hand? Okay, do you wanna talk them through, that? I'm sorry, I'll leave. Feel free to email me, or, I mean, a lot of you are in my classes now, you're welcome to ask me questions. My office hours The office knows my office hours, you're welcome to stop by and ask questions. Okay, good luck with it all, I
Thank
know
you.
it's a lot of stress.
Oh, yes. So we have about 10 minutes left. Dr. Strike had to go because she has a meeting, but if there are any questions like related to the technical process that Michelle or Carla can answer, even questions related to like, classes or, because we're all graduate students, I'm sure so. Dr. Strike said if you can clarify one thing at the beginning, I forgot what it was. She said perhaps you
It
can.
was in the application,
I'm not sure.
I went over basically what's on the application, and she talked about it several times. The only thing I can think of besides that is to be, once the 15th comes, you cannot submit anything else. There's no way of reopening it, there's no way of taking paper information from you to process in this, within the application.
I do have a question for the university grad application. What documents do they need? Do they need just an application, or where do we get information?
Okay, so Mentor, I don't think they're using anymore. We've got a new application for the university.
Oh, really?
And I've seen little bits of it, but I haven't seen it from the student side.
Yeah, it's this thing called CSU Apply, and it's basically, if you type that in online, it'll organize all of your university applications for any CSU. So it'll tell you when an application is complete, and it'll tell you when certain documents are missing. So it's a really good organizational system too for the university side of applications.
As far as what they're gonna need, basically they're gonna need everything that we ask for, with the exception of letters of recommendation.
And
Yes, on the statement of intent, you don't have to either. If they ask for one, generally you can just put on there, submit it to the department for review. You don't need to write one there.
So if I ask for a letter of recommendation, I'm going to CSU universities, the same person will write one letter and it will just automatically transfer, or I have to ask different people for different reasons?
For the department application, ours don't go anywhere else except to us. So if they write one, you'll be asking them to write for like CSULA, if you decide to go there or apply there, then you have to do what they ask you to. Ours is totally separate.
How many people were admitted in the fall for the residential program?
Anywhere between 40, 45, somewhere around there.
So, how Dr. Lucas was saying that the application for the online is separate,
Yes.
since it's to the same college, would we just turn everything into the same college?
Now you'll have to go to the department website. I think there's a link on our website that goes to the distance.
Is it this one here?
This is the residential. That's ours. So, but I believe on ours there's only, or you can go to the same college link and it'll have master's programs and you can select the college. And there's, there you go.
If we're automatically, with a certain GPA and a GRE score, there's an automatic into the same college online, but I still have to apply.
Yes, I believe you do.
Okay, for the online.
I'm not as familiar with the distance program, but I believe you do.
When do approval letters come around?
We try to get those out by the middle of April. So between the beginning of April and middle of February. We do our best to get them out as soon as possible because I know you guys are anxious and want to know.
Oh, yes. It's stressful. It's like,
Yeah.
very anxious. Okay, we talked about CSU, but it's not that anymore. Let's see, did we talk about transcripts, like, yeah, I think.
Unofficial.
So one thing that really helped me during the application process was making an Excel spreadsheet of all the schools I'm applying to and every requirement that you need, whether it's recommendation letter, whether you've finished the letter of intent, whether you have classes that you still need to take to show that school. So making an Excel spreadsheet and staying organized is key. At least it was for me during the application process. And the more schools you apply to, the more you increase your chances of getting in. Our field is really competitive. In any program you want to get into, it doesn't matter what school. So every school that you add onto your list, you're just increasing the chances of you getting in somewhere. And although it would be nice for all of us to get into CSUN, the reality is that's not going to happen. So think about all the other schools that you might want to apply to, whether it's here or out of state, because a lot of times people do get in out of state and they do end up going too.
But the great thing, I know the application fresh, because I just did it last fall, but the tracking sheet, I also made one for myself. Just for me to know what because everybody's application to different universities are different, and the requirement is very different. So it's very good for you to, as Natalie said, be organized, because some university, they will want your professors to submit the letter of rec through a CDS, like a third party, and the third party has a different recommendation of what you gotta do. So it's very good to research what university you're gonna apply to and what are the requirements, and organize it in a timely manner based on their due date. That's what I did.
I do have one more thing, just so everybody knows. You need to have at least 18 units of graded work when you apply. So if you've only taken the core courses, which is 12, best to wait and apply the following year. Everybody's beyond that though, right? 18 graded units.
Do you know what like an estimate would be for each application? Like, when you turn in your application to, for like a master's program, do you have to pay a fee for that?
You don't have to pay a fee for the department application, but the university you do.
So that's like,
So the apply or CSU apply
CSU
with,
apply.
yeah,
It's
that one,
$55 per CSU.
but not the department application, you don't have a fee for that.
some schools you have to pay for both, so
Mhm.
Yeah.
school and the department can be different.
Yes.
I have heard that.
So you just have to know your university that you're applying to. Because when I applied to Loma Linda is just straight to that university. You first need to pay the fee in order to process to the application. And their requirements was just way different. So you have to just know your school that you're applying to.
Sorry, just to clarify, so for every, like say CSU school that we apply to, you apply to the actual campus and the grad program for every CSU?
I'm not gonna say every CSU, because I don't know for sure, but most of them have their own department application in addition to the CSU application.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question for you guys, like grad students, regarding the CV and the resume, like what type of information, did you apply to any schools that require that, and like what goes on that?
You're asking about the
Cover letter?
the cover letter. Some schools require a cover letter. I don't believe for this department it required a cover letter.
I'm just talking about in general,
In-
not just necessarily for here.
In general, I don't remember using a cover letter.
But
You
you,
guys use a cover letter?
both, I'm gonna talk about Loma Linda. Loma Linda, for example, if you do consider applying, they have a bunch of questions you have to fill in. And then they want a personal statement. So it's way different. But here for CSUN, you have to just write a letter of intent, and they give you very specific guidelines and specific amount of words you could use. So there are 3 questions, and you have to write it only in 1,000 words. And that also lets the reader know, are you following instructions? Or are you just trying to mumbo jumbo a bunch of things you want to just answer the questions? So it also shows your word choosing skills as that.
If you do upload a CV or resume, whatever information you include on there, make sure it's pertinent just to communication disorders. Don't put that babysitting job you had when you were 14, you know?
Yeah, so I have a resume myself, like an employment resume, places I've worked. highlighted stuff that was related to what, what I'm studying, and like other like experiences I had related. So I would have 2 separate resumes and then one for grad school and one I would use. And are there any more questions? Oh, yeah, sorry.
The prompts for the letter of intent, is that found under the advisement, residential?
Yes, if you go in, they give you specific instructions. I remember, I don't know if they change it or not. The first question is, they basically ask you what you got into this field. What made you be interested in this field? Second is, what is your extracurriculum activity that you have done other than CDS courses?
Yeah.
The third one is, what have you done in real life or what you learned from the CDS courses? Like what other stuff did you do? Not just academically. And you have to write all of that in 1,000 words. So when you choose your, well, I had a question with extracurriculum activity. Well, I used to be a martial arts instructor. And when I write about that, I want to try to link with my, my exercise that I did, such as making sure all the students are in line, following instructions. So how is that experience going to benefit when I come into this field? Because then you will benefit because I have to create lesson plans, I have to manage my group therapy sessions. So all of that, you have to think about what your extracurricular activity will benefit your CDS field. So when you choose it, I think you have to think about it.
Yeah, and you guys may have like unique extracurricular like activities that you do outside. You have to be creative and think of ways how you can link that to your personal statement.
How's
That
that,
can actually help and like make you stand out.
that experience going to benefit you in this field?
I don't think it's posted anywhere besides the application itself, unless you guys,
Oh, that's what I was trying to say, yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
it's only
yeah.
in the application.
But yeah,
as far as I know.
you're asking where it's at. It's right there in the application. Any more questions? Oh, yeah.
Just want to add one last thing. So as Dr. Strikers just mentioned, the letter of intent is the way that the department is going to get the opportunity to know who you are as a person, even though it's just a few amount of words that you get to explain yourself. But before you start writing, take some time to reflect about why you want to pursue speech language pathology or audiology, whichever one you're doing. Because in order to be a good clinician, you really need to have good reflective skills. And you want to know why you're going into a career before you jump into it. So take some time to think about it. What are your motives? What are your intrinsic goals? What is motivating you to do it? And then let those things just flow into your letter of intent. And if you're applying to a lot of schools, it may be hard to write every single one to their standards. So sometimes it helps to draft out a general one and then edit it according to what they want in their prompt specifically.
Exactly. So if there are no more questions, I want to thank you guys for coming. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys. This was pretty exciting. Thank you to Carla and Michelle who came out and helped us. So thank you guys.
Feel free to email us if you have any further questions or talk to us as students.